Ladies and gentlemen, the world's #1 sports and recreation podcast is Cheap Heat. Very, very happy to be joined by an icon, a multi-time Hall of Famer, one of the greats to ever do it, and the brilliant mind behind NXT these days. I'm talking about, of course, the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels. How you doing, Shawn?
I'm doing well. No one's called my mind brilliant ever, but I appreciate you taking the chance.
You know what? I'm the guy. I'm stepping out on a limb. Obviously, you guys have been doing some awesome stuff since you've been handling things down there. And December 9th, NXT Deadline. We're going to have Trick Williams on the show as well to talk about the Iron Survivor Challenge. But how much fun have you been having recently, and what can you say about where this NXT roster is in 2023?
Yeah, well, look, obviously a huge amount of fun. This has just been, it's been a joy for me. Again, anybody that knows me, this is the best part of this job is the beginning. Again, before it I always tell everybody, before it becomes about business and money and how many dates I'm going to make. And again, all understandable things. I've done it all, but this is where you're young, you're hungry, you're passionate just about the job and want to get out there and improve and grow, perform. And it's just, it's unbridled, it's pure. And so I love that aspect of it. And look, I think it keeps me young. It keeps me excited. It's certainly, where I feel like I belong. There's so much talent coming in down here. And I got to tell you,
stops.
The concept of the recruiting and the NIL has really paid dividends. It's staggering to me how quickly some of these young men and women adapt to what it is we do. And so just to watch that happen has been fantastic. And look, I think that's what's, happened even in the last 2 years. I mean, we've had, I'm always amazed, look, they're a couple of them are up on the main roster, but the Creed brothers, Braun Breaker, people that were in college 2 years ago.
It's
and
wild.
Again, and people are looking at them and saying like, oh my goodness, they're ready. And they could, they're going to be headlining WrestleManias. That's huge at such a short time in this line of work. So I'm more honored and proud of that than anything else. Losing talent, I think, is a weird thing to say, but that's our job down here, and it's fantastic that it's happening on a regular basis.
And the aforementioned Trick Williams is one of those guys who steps into the Performance Center a few years ago, and the first time he popped up on screen, you certainly see a kid who has a look and physically could be something, but to be 3 years in, Shawn, and be where he's at, like, it is sort of like almost, you must be alarmed at times because you're like, I studied and practiced this thing my whole life. How are these kids getting this so quick?
Well, again, and I'll say this, what we have down here, and again, I know, everybody's had their opinions of who doesn't, I don't need to be there. This is a well-oiled machine down here. And again, I'm not blowing smoke when, Hunter and Matt, when they all started this, they have worked out all the kinks. It is efficient down here. We've got a lot of great coaches. And again, and again, what we do now from a television standpoint, from a live television standpoint, we've got, again, just like last night, we've got 2 ladies out there that have literally been doing this for 6 months and 8 months, and they're out there performing a 10-minute match on live television. And that is, again, unheard of. And so it really is that I always, sort of always mention that because I just don't, we've gotten so sort of used to it that I don't think it loses its specialness to people, but it's simply staggering that's going on.
One person who we've seen in the last few years just like grow and grow and grow, and she predates your time in your position, is Rhea Ripley. Shawn, I got to tell you, man, I listen, I'm very proud because, listen, it did not take a genius to see, when she showed up to the Mae Young Classic, what we potentially had on our hands. But I am proud of that. From the very second I saw her, I said, no, this could really be it. Shawn, I feel like she could go on to be the greatest. Like, I think that's on the table. Like, a lot of the feelings that China gave us mixed with a lot of the other feelings that many other superstars have brought. Are you seeing what I'm seeing, that Rhea Ripley could maybe be the greatest woman who's ever stepped foot in a ring?
Look, again, I'll just say this. We're both in the same department when it came to that Mae Young Classic. And I can remember, again, when we went over to UK and, and again, it was before, I didn't know Hunter was just going to stop coming and it was going to eventually be mine, which he's done to me twice now, and I've fallen for it twice. But again, I was like, can we bring Rhea? Can I have her over there? And that's where, again, I think she really began to get comfortable and really blossom. And yes, so, Peter, to answer your question, I think that it's unlimited potential there. Let's put it this way.
It's on the table. It's all on the table.
It is. It's there for the taking. She is a special athlete, a look, a charisma. Again, the it factor that we talk about. But yes, and I'll say this: I didn't know that she was going to sort of, I don't know, mature and elevate herself so quickly and look so comfortable. But I'll say this: I look at a lot of the women that are on the main roster now, the Biancas and the Charlottes, and again, a great number of them that were here, and just the presence and the comfort and the confidence that they have out there is just amazing to me. And again, especially when you've gotten to see them from the beginning, that's why Hunter and I are so into this, because you get to be such a real part of their journey, and it happens right in front of you, and it's hard not to, I don't know, to generally be connected to that and care about that. And so, to answer your question, again, yes, I'm with you, and I'm in agreement with you.
One person who's been grabbing people has a big match against Baron Corbin at Deadline, and that's Ilja. Ilja Dragunov is just, there's something different there. You talk about a look and an it factor. In the case of Ilja Dragunov, it's sort of like unlike anything we've ever seen. How do you describe the tools of Ilja Dragunov?
Well, to me, once again, the passion and the intensity. What again I appreciate about it. Again, learned it with him in the UK too, and I'm so proud of that. That some of these, I don't know, well-kept secrets, I guess, from a global standpoint. I was so fortunate to get to see from the beginning over in the UK. But you could see then again that he was unique and different and special, and he's another one that I think what he's doing now is unbelievably impressive. But I think when he has an opportunity to do that globally, once again, we're going to see something special, and also something from, I don't know, again, because Illy's not the biggest person, right? But he's got such a great look and an intensity. You can feel his passion, and he can come out in a rehearsal and have that kind of passion and intensity. So that's the thing what's so fantastic about that is what you see from Ilja is who he is and what you get. And I think, once again, people see that. They connect with it right away because they know authenticity when they see it. And that's what Ilja has. And I think, again, we're thrilled to have him here. But like I said, it would not surprise me if one day, he gets snatched up. But I'm so happy that, again, he'll have an opportunity, and happy for the people that have not seen him to be able to have the chance to see him, because he is a special kid for sure.
What's this moment meant for Corbin too? Baron Corbin to me is a really great talent who, for whatever reason, in the last few years, it's like good things almost happened. The character starts going a certain way, then sort of the rug would come out, and I think everyone agrees the guy is awesome in the ring. He has one of the best, and sort of a conversation that comes up around you a lot with the Super Kid, one of the best and most protected finishers actually in the business is Baron Corbin's. But at the same time, he just hasn't found that footing over the last couple of years. It seems like here in NXT, this has been a really positive thing for a great talent in Baron Corbin.
Well, because he is unbelievably talented, and I think, not through no fault of his own, he gets asked to do a job and does it really well. And so, and the thing is, I don't know that at any point during his career, and again, you'd have to ask him. So this isn't a claim. I'm just, I don't know that anyone's asked him, what do you want to do? And that's something that when he came here, the first question I asked him, if you had the opportunity to have some direction on where you were going, what would you want to do? And look, I always go back and I tell everybody the story that, look, that Vince gave me that opportunity years ago. I got to find out who the Heartbreak Kid was. I got to evolve into him and find my footing and find my comfort zone and continue to push and take some risks. And I don't know that Baron has always had that. He's sort of been, put into something and again, done it really well, been effective. But again, it's one of those things that, it's like, I can't remember the movie, whatever that, about the weddings that, the one, Sarah, I don't remember the name, but, she never got asked what kind of eggs she liked. She ate the eggs that someone else,
Yes.
If you like poached, I like poached. If you like scrambled, I like scrambled. And, Corbin came down here and I asked him, what kind of eggs do you like?
Right.
How about we serve that up for you?
That's such a great way of putting it. Yeah, I was always so into when his character was really broken down and his shirt was dirty and it just sort of felt like the gun got jumped there. And then after that, we never got back to what his potential was. Then JBL came in. I thought that was going to be a really cool thing. It sort of went away. So I'm psyched to see him in a big moment in NXT. What was your reaction when Cult of Personality, CM Punk's theme song hit the other night?
I get like everybody else. I get happy, thrilled, like holy cow. Well, and again, I don't know. I got asked, I don't know, a couple months ago. Again, well, if you had the chance to use them, would you? And I was like, yeah, who wouldn't? So I understand. I don't know. I understand business, and I also look. I've understood. I wasn't always the most popular guy to people, but I was really good at my job. And I feel like that's one of the reasons I've had one here in the WWE for almost 40 years. Because again, I'm dependable and I'm good at my job. And I think if you are that, there's always an opportunity here, especially if you want one. And so, look, I'm happy for him. I'm happy for the company. I'm happy for the WWE fan base. The WWE universe. Stories like this are always fantastic, even if they're controversial. That's part of what makes them fantastic. And so, look, there are times I don't always know what's going on. And truth be told, I don't even think sometimes they know what's going on. But that's what makes it what unpredictability is, just that, unpredictable. But that's what makes this job so fantastic and so unique. Unlike anything else. And that's why we've continued to thrive for, 40 plus years as well.
One of the things that I was so excited about, and I'd expressed sort of mixed feelings. I was of the camp, I don't think it's ever going to happen. I was that guy. One of the things I loved about this, though, was the level of surprise, Shawn. That's one thing I think we've been missing there in this era of sports entertainment. There's a lot of promoting of when things are going to come, and I understand it. But when you get hit with a true, genuine, Shawn, I was there all day. No one even mentioned him. It was not on the radar in a real way. It was, so even for the boys, it was such a shock, it seemed, for everyone. Shawn, that to me, as an outsider, I'm curious to you as an insider what you think. That's to me what makes a moment extra special, when nobody has a clue that music's hitting.
Absolutely. And again, you can, in this job, everybody can bat 500. You know what I mean? I think he is. I think he isn't. You know what I mean? But it is because it's so hard to keep anything. Everybody. Heck, everybody lets you know if they're going to the store. You know what I mean? So,
in this era.
Got eggs today. Go to the store to get some bacon. Like, that's awesome. Great. I'm gonna go rob your house now that I know that you're gone. But so it really is. But that's the power of being able to do that. and that is what also makes it special. But there's that, that's a perfect storm analogy, and that can only happen with certain people at the same time. You know what I mean? And that is, that's where, again, everybody knows it's so cliche now, but that's where the words "never say never" always, came out in the first place. Because in this line of work, what makes it so fantastic, you're never 100% sure. Even if you think you are, you're just not being honest. You know what I mean?
Right. Of course.
You're just on the face saying, I know this is going to happen, but there's always a little piece of you going like, I don't know. And again, to your point, I think everybody thought this was a bridge too far.
That's what it felt like for me. And I'm like, I know that everyone makes up, but I thought this one, he'd already been there. I just didn't see it. And that's what made it such a great shock in that way, is that I was like, no way. Really? I mean, I was with Booker. We both looked at each other like, no way. This is happening.
And right? I mean, and to pull that off in this day and age, pretty special.
That to me is what makes it so cool. And as Booker always says, if there's money to be made and there's someone who can do business, you do it. And I think sometimes the vitriol for Punk backstage is an overstated story people like to tell. I think he has his share of people that he doesn't have a great relationship with. I think way more, though, are going to be happy to see him. What's it like, though, Shawn? You've had those days where you had your people, quite literally the clique, who have your back, and then you have some more people who aren't happy to see you, and then others who are indifferent. What is that feeling like? You're walking in with your suitcase, heading in down the ramp into the building, when kind of every corner you turn might be a mixed reaction in the eyes.
Well, early on, it's uncomfortable. But again, I think after a while you get used to it. Look, everybody would prefer to be liked, but if you're somebody, second guessing is always going to go on this line of work. It is impossible to please 100% of the people 100% of the time. And look, as well as I do, in any line of work and in any walk of life, everybody can say, I really like this guy and I get along with him. And they're talking about him 2 minutes later anyway. And that goes for everybody, even the most liked individuals. And so, I don't know. I think he's been doing this for a long time. Again, I guess I always say, like, I don't know. I always liked Phil, and I don't know. And I always understood heaven forbid you have a different opinion. I don't know. That kind of stuff doesn't bother me. And so it doesn't matter whose it is. And like I said, but I can understand, because at one time it did, and I didn't have the maturity to, respect and accept other one's opinions, even if they didn't agree with mine. And so I think we all come to that in time. And so I think at one point it might have bothered him. I would imagine, he's accepted it as a reality, and is good with that.
Before I let you go, another person who will be on the card in a big match with Wesley is Dominik Mysterio. I'm curious, first of all, what's your earliest memory of Dominik Mysterio the Kid? Do you have memories of Dominik as a little kid going back to the early 2000s? And also, just again, how impressed are you with the development of this dude?
Well, of course, I can remember the first time, and just so early on thinking to myself, like, God, Ray, he's already taller than you are. And so, and at such a young age, and especially for us, but Dom has, to me, Dominik Mysterio, MVP of the WWE this year. And every time he comes here, I look at him as the hardest working man in show business. He has just been an Iron Man for us. And again, I can't speak to what he does on the main roster, but he has just done everything we have asked of him. He's done it professionally. He's done it admirably, done it to the best of his ability. Yes, do I think it's been to his advantage, because a lot was put on him early, and he probably didn't get the opportunity to develop, behind the scenes as much as other people had, and he had to do it out there in front of the world and probably got judged harshly for it. But I'm telling you, he is just, I have nothing but admiration for that young man. He has been a stud for us. And again, I think from a company standpoint, everybody would agree with me. Um, he got a lot put on him early, and I think he's grown a lot in this last year. I think he's become a hell of a performer as well when everything is said and done. But it's hard for me not to admire the young man who's worked so hard, again, for us. You know what I mean? When, again, technically, I guess, he could, yeah, it's early and he's young. He's getting a great opportunity. But if, I've seen other people with less get a lot chippier and a lot, and again, it'd be a lot more difficult to deal with professionally. He has just been a joy. And so more so than anything else, I appreciate that. I appreciate the fact, and I tell Ray every time I see him, you know, he's a great performer and everything else, but you raised a really wonderful young man there, and I hope that means a lot to him because he really is. I admire him a great deal as a young man.
Yeah, he's a wonderful kid, and the value, Shawn, I'd imagine for every superstar, the value of having someone who just gets booed by the crowd like that, no matter where you are, no matter what's happening, you have this guy that everyone is ready to boo. It feels like that would just make everyone, particularly every good guy's job, that much easier when you show up to work.
Well, it is, and I'll say this: that's something that down here again, when you have main roster people come in, look, it's very tough, it's very difficult because they can be a bad guy on television, but it's a main roster guy coming down here, and it puts our young baby faces in a pretty tough position. But you got Dom.
He's getting booed.
I mean, everybody's like, "Whew, what a great opportunity for me." Again, our talent here recognized that, and again, I think that was something that was a benefit to them. They see it, and as I say, for Dom to handle it so humbly like he did was also fantastic. So for us, this run with Dom has just been just such a huge opportunity and a huge blessing for us overall.
If you were somehow unaware, that's Shawn Michaels, the Heartbreak Kid. Every time I get a chance to chop it up with you in any way, I am thrilled to do it. Deadline is going to be on Peacock on Saturday, December 9th. We look forward to it, and we'll talk to you soon, Shawn. Always excited to have a chat.
I appreciate it, Peter. Thanks so much for having me, man. And thanks for helping us out with this.
Take care, of course.
All righty, bye-bye.